Hi everybody, this is a blue Triskaidekaphile deck that takes advantage of this creature to give us no maximum hand size, but then, more importantly, and even more fun, we win the game if we have exactly 13 cards in our hand during our upkeep. So how can we go about doing this? We got a few cards to protect the Triskaidekaphile, one copy of Shore Up, and one Fading Hope. Fading Hope also great against opposing creatures and creature tokens, lets us get a little scry off the top of the deck as well. We've got some counter magic here to help protect us in the early to mid game. We got some Syncopate and some Make Disappear, great kind of tempo-oriented counter spells that can help us get through those first couple of turns when you can see our creatures aren't really that threatening. So Triskaidekaphile, it's a decent blocker, and we've got so many that we can actually play this pretty early and not really care too much about losing it, since with all this card draw, we're almost guaranteed to draw one later on in the game. Speaking of card draw, we've also got 4 copies of Academy Loremaster. This is great to put our opponents in kind of an unreasonable situation. We get to draw a bunch of cards during our turn, since most of the time we don't really care about the penalty we pay for drawing extra cards. And opponents who may not be used to playing against this card always have the opportunity to make the wrong choice against us, and that gives us just a little more time to finish off our ridiculous combo. Now, I will say with the Loremaster, we generally want to draw in the first, 4 or 5 turns of the game if we can get this down early enough. Later on in the game, we actually kind of want to be spending our mana during our turn if we can find a good window to cast Teferi, Temporal, Pilgrim. Now, Teferi goes well with strategies that love to draw cards, and so we can really surprise an opponent, even with just one of these spirit tokens that he creates, with this next card, Flow of Knowledge. So Flow of Knowledge draws a card for each island you control. It's an instant, and then we discard 2 cards. But really, the meat of this one is just drawing tons of cards out of nowhere. And as you can see by our mana base, 24 islands and 1 Otawara means we've got plenty of islands to go around all the time. So not uncommon to actually finish a game off in this deck with Flow of Knowledge, plus one of Teferi's tokens. Also a great way to speed our hand up and get us up to 13 for a surprise finish with Triskaidekaphile. Now this deck does get kind of tricky with the math. You've got to remember how many cards you're drawing, how many you're discarding, and then kind of the difference that makes as you play the card from your hand. So it's a little bit much to follow sometimes, but it's definitely worth it. Some cards that didn't quite work in the deck, I would say, I've got 3 copies of the Celestus in here because I thought we might need a little bit of extra ramp. And then Aether Channeler, I was worried we didn't have enough sort of like mid-game kind of blocking utility stuff. So those 2 were like okay, but less than stellar. The Celestus especially we should probably take out of there. The other thing that was okay, but not fantastic, was Silver Scrutiny. So this is generally pretty good because we can use it as an instant if X is 3 or less. But, later on in the game, it's just okay kind of compared to Flow of Knowledge and other things we might want to be doing with our mana. Which is kind of weird because the next thing I'm going to say is that we kind of need a mana sink for the late game. There are certain scenarios with this deck where we've got a ton of mana available, and it would just be great to be able to blow the opponent out with some large effect. And aside from Silver Scrutiny, we really don't have it. So we need something besides drawing a ton of cards that we can sink a bunch of mana into. So I'm thinking something maybe like Consuming Tide, or maybe a Blue Sun's Twilight, something that gives us a big effect and can perhaps protect us or even finish off a game if we needed to. So anyway, this one was surprisingly fun, so let's get over and see a few games with it over on the Ranked Standard ladder. I'll be with you for some commentary, but as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. 4 lands and a Loremaster, that sounds pretty good to me. Go ahead and get our old school Mirage Island, I think that is. And we'll just... we can Loremaster or pass and hold up Syncopate. Tempting to keep up Syncopate here, especially since opponent doesn't have anything on the board already, and we are on the draw. They're going to get their opportunity to play their best thing early. Just Autonomous Furnace though, so they must be lacking something to do. I wonder if this is a big red deck instead of the usual red aggro. Oh, they might be just looking for colors there. Okay, well, we will Syncopate. Let's see, we got the mana for it. Yes. We will Syncopate the Bloated Contaminator. Let's get down our Academy Loremaster. We can still Syncopate the next thing that they do, since it seems like they are lacking in the mana department. Yeah, okay. Opponent decides to take the offer. They're going to draw. We'll cast an Evolving Adaptive, normally a 1 cost, but they'll cast it for 3. And we will definitely take the opportunity to counter that. Keep that board clear. We're going to decline this. I want to get Teferi down. We've been really fortunate to keep this board open, and now we can get a Teferi token on the battlefield and just start growing the heck out of it in the coming turns. Opponent choosing whether or not to draw. They decide to draw. They'll go for another Evolving Adaptive. Well, nothing we can do about that, but that's okay. Teferi token and Teferi will get a little bit of +1/+1 and loyalty on them respectively. We pick up a Triskaidekaphile with our extra draw. And we'll draw with Teferi, get this Make Disappear. Get in with our 5/5 Teferi token. And now we've got Make Disappear for our opponent's turn. Or we can Silver Scrutiny and maybe surprise them with this Teferi token getting real big. Armored Scrap Gorger for the opponent. Puts an oil counter on the adaptive. And another Scrap Gorger. So adaptive's going to grow again up to a 3/3, but we kind of outshine that on the board at the moment. So I think let's do some Silver Scrutiny. X has to be 3 so we can do it as an instant. We'll put some counters on everybody. Great. We've got our Triskaidekaphile. Yeah, what the heck. Let's draw. Nice 10/10 token there. Yeah, let's get down Triskaidekaphile. Why not? Swing in with the big Teferi token. Just lets it through. Opponent down to 3 with an adaptive and a couple of creatures left on the board. Let's just draw with Teferi here. So we've got 8 cards in hand. Kind of want to try to win with Triskaidekaphile. I know Teferi's kind of going nuts over there. Alright, so opponent's got Silverback. They're going to exile something from our graveyard. Alright, adaptive now a 4/4. Let's just try one more thing here. Opponent reading Triskaidekaphile. We will draw. We don't really have enough like bounce effects to kind of get through the board on the ground with this token. I know we've got the option of the Teferi Ultimate, but I kind of want to get my Triskaidekaphile achievement badge here. Alright, so Teferi will draw. We can easily swing in with our token, keep the pressure up, and force the block. Alright. Speaking of achievement badges, I don't think I've ever ultimated this Teferi either, so that'll have to be next on the list. Alright, opponent with another adaptive. It's going to trigger the Elder. Oh, wow. Alright, so Elder triggers. They're going to gain a little bit of life. Ravager. Sure, why not? I don't think there's anything they can hurt us with that. All of our creatures able to dodge that pretty easily. Alright, so we need 13. It's the beginning of our upkeep. I think... Let's see, we've got 11 in hand. Silver Scrutiny, so that's going to be +3. Oh, is that going to be one too many? I might have to put a stop on the upkeep here. Nope. Okay. Well, we got there anyway. Good game. All right. We've got some Loremasters. I'm going to count that last one as essentially a Triskaidekaphile victory, although really it was a lot of Teferi. This is a pretty good hand for us. We've got 2 Academy Loremasters, 2 Silver Scrutiny, and we've just picked up Triskaidekaphile. But Loremaster is great to get down early. We can just continue to draw cards, play lands. Opponent takes the deal. Okay. Kind of surprising from a green deck. I would have expected them to lead with some more creatures, but I think we will also take that deal. Draw an extra card. Just play some more lands. Get in for 2 with our Loremaster. We can always Scrutiny for 1 if we're getting bored. Opponent draws again with the Loremaster. Land number 3. Passes. Oh, nope. Oh, okay. All right. Must be looking for a plains. They got the rabble rousing going. Do we draw? I think we're going to pass this time. So we've got this flow of knowledge now that can really bump up our card draw. Let's get the Triskaidekaphile down so that we're all set up for when we can start drawing crazy amounts of cards. Opponent decides to draw once, twice with the Loremaster. That is a 4-mana tax on your stuff. Plays Boseiju. And unfortunately has to discard. Looks like a Mondrak over there as well. All right, well, even if our opponent is a little bit troubled on mana, let's see how quickly we can get this Triskaidekaphile going. Opponent's going to draw 2 times again. There's a plains. All right, let's flow of knowledge then, if that's all they got. We have to discard 2 here. Let's get rid of Celestus and Fading Hope. Shore Up might protect the Triskaidekaphile. And opponent discards some more cards. We will draw. And draw again. Let's see. We are hovering right at 11 cards. Let's just pass. We can use a Silver Scrutiny and probably push us up to 13 cards before the start of our upkeep. Assuming we don't have to interact with our opponent in any meaningful way. Opponent hits 2 white mana. Not sure what they were waiting for. They definitely discarded some 1 white mana things to do. They're going to lay down a wedding announcement. Follow that up with Ginny Faye. Maybe they were waiting to make sure Ginny Faye could do her thing immediately. End of our opponent's turn. Let's Silver Scrutiny for 3. And wedding announcement will tick up. And that should be 13. All right. Now we've officially got it. Good game. Okay. Not a lot of early stuff, but it's clear that the deck wants us to play with Teferi now. So let's get this going. We got a basic island to start with. Opponent with a black and blue land. Let's draw. Let's play this Loremaster that we just drew. Opponent deciding not to take that deal. Could be a poison proliferate deck then that has a lot of early plays it wants to get on the board. All right, a toxic creature, sure. We are going to... Yep, let's draw with the Loremaster. Just keep laying down some islands. It's got Death Touch. We may not want to block just yet. Opponent with land number 3. Hovering over our Loremaster, taking a good look. Alright, decides to get in with the 1/1 Death Toucher. No blocks from us. Loremaster is pretty valuable to us at the moment. Let's just do a little tiny Silver Scrutiny here for 1. Opponent might have an effect. Looks like they're holding on to an instant there. All right, we've got the 3-of-a-kind Teferi hand going on now. I think we're going to decline, though. Let's get down Triskaidekaphile. Assuming they let that through. Hold on a second. Opponent's going to bring the ending on the Triskaidekaphile. That may be okay. We're only at 1, so we could have paid the 2, but honestly, I'd rather get this Loremaster down. I mean, kind of look at our hand. We're holding a Flow of Knowledge and 3 copies of Teferi. If we can't draw another copy of Triskaidekaphile, I'm going to be really surprised. All right. Prologue to Phyrexia gets us up to 2 poison counters. Sure, we'll let the Death Toucher in. We'll go up to 3. They're going to Curiosity, since now we're up to 3 poison counters. Academy Loremaster. Going to go off for us, but we will decline because now we have a great board to play a Teferi onto. So let's go ahead and make a token. Opponent is in some colors that could be playing removal, so we're just going to leave 1 Loremaster back. Leave up the option to make another token next turn with Teferi if they happen to be able to cut down this token, for example. Opponent decides against taking the Loremaster's deal. They're going to Experimental Augury, so that's going to proliferate and put another counter on us, bringing us to 4 poison counters. Experimental Augury again. That will bring the total to 5. Considering blocking this Death Toucher now. Yeah, especially since they're getting in at Teferi. Let's block with the second Loremaster. We're holding the flow, so we don't need to be drawing so many off of our creatures. There's a second one. Wow. Let's do this. So we're already drawing a little bit, right? And we can draw with Teferi, or we can make another token. So let's get this island out. Let's make another token. We're going to get in for 6 and put our opponent to 10. And I kind of want to keep this flow a secret. So their creatures in that kind of deck, they're not very good. And we're going to be able to draw 6 at instant speed here. Bringing us to, we're going to get what? An 11/11 out of the deal. And then a 9/9. Gix's Command. So creatures with power 2 or less, and we sack the biggest one. All right, well, let's fire this off now then. The big one's dying anyway. We might as well make the other one as big as possible. Get just a few triggers from all those draws. Teferi getting large as well. We lose our Loremaster and our big version of mini Teferi. Goes up to 9/9, but we can just tick up, draw a card with Teferi, get that final 10th counter on him. And we've got a 10/10 to swing in for Xaxes. All right, good game. Huh, interesting. Well, we've kind of swung back over to the other win condition in this deck. Deck is now telling us to win with Triskaidekaphile again. Opponent starting off quick with a Swift Spear, going to hit us for 1. Play island number 2 and start off with a Loremaster. Have to see what our opponent does pre-combat here before we make any blocking decisions. They accept the offer and go for the draw. So we know they can't play anything because of the tax, so we will happily block this Swift Spear with the Loremaster. Always got to wait for the extra information. All right, so we'll draw extra with the Loremaster and just pass and hold back with the Academy Loremaster in case they decide to attack with another hasty creature. Opponent takes the deal again. Plays land number 3, so they can play any 1-mana spell that they have. Play with fire, 4/3, to our face, gets them the scry, and they'll keep 1 on top. Let's decline this offer from the Loremaster right now. We're going to play a second Loremaster, and Triskaidekaphile try to set us up. We are probably close to drawing a Flow of Knowledge. Or we've at least got this Silver Scrutiny to help us get there. Want to be ready in case the opportunity presents itself. Opponent going to cast a Feldon, has 2 mana left over, and they're going to go with Bloodthirsty Adversary with no extra counters on it. So just a couple of hasty 2/2 creatures. Going to block the Adversary and let Feldon through so they don't see any extra cards. We're going to draw with this first Loremaster and the second one. Play an island for turn. We'll send in the Triskaidekaphile and one of the Loremasters. At least make our opponent's decisions a little bit more difficult. We still have our option to Silver Scrutiny for 3 with Flash. Oh, Thundering Raiju. Well, not much we can do about that. And that counter on Feldon is going to negate our blocking ability here. So we'll take 6 plus the trigger, so we go down to 8. Let's draw with Scrutiny. We pick up Make Disappear, Flow, and Teferi. We've got a Triskaidekaphile. I think let's try drawing with these cards. We might be able to chump enough with these Loremasters and just buy us enough time to get up to 13 at instant speed. And if it all goes south, we at least have 1 Make Disappear. We might be able to sack one of these Loremasters too. Okay, opponent's sitting on 5 mana now. Bloodthirsty Adversary is going to come down. And they do choose to put the counter on it, so they're going to pull up a spell. Looks like Play with Fire. Well, Triskaidekaphile's got 3 toughness, so they're pointing that, yep, right at our face. Going to get another scry and take us to 6. All right. Let's... I think we can do this. Let's pass and go to combat. They're going to put a counter on the Adversary. Trigger takes us to 4. Okay, 1 Loremaster is going to block the Adversary. The other will block the Raiju. So we'll take 3 from Feldon, go to 1. End of turn, we will Flow of Knowledge. Discarding 2. Other Triskaidekaphile and a Celestus. We'll stop on our upkeep. Okay, so Triskaidekaphile triggers. Oh, we have 13. Nice. Good game. All right, this hand looks pretty good. Man, the math involved in this deck sometimes. A lot of moving parts, as they say. Alright, looks like another mono-red opponent. We've got Phoenix Chick from them to start off with. We're going to play land number 2 and just pass it on back. Could play Triskaidekaphile as a potential blocker, but I would kind of rather hold on to it since we don't have any other creatures right now. Radha's Firebrand. That's good at getting past blockers. We draw a Flow of Knowledge, so let's get down Triskaidekaphile. Might be able to shore it up as kind of a combat trick. If we can. Opponent plays Mishra's Foundry. They're going to try to Lightning Strike, so let's shore up the Triskaidekaphile. Counters the strike they were targeting it with, and they will attack with both Radha and the Phoenix Chick. Well, we will definitely block Radha there. Or the Firebrand, not Radha themselves. Different cards. Alright, so we've got a 4th island down and just a Triskaidekaphile. We're still at 17, though, so let's see what our opponent's got for us. Reckless Stormseeker from them. They use their ability on the Phoenix Chick and get in with just the Chick. Okay. Let's do a Silver Scrutiny then for 2. We get Loremaster and Otawara. Let's play our island. We can do Teferi. I think that makes the most sense. Yeah, let's make a token. And we'll just pass, keep up some blockers. If we can get this token up above, like, 3, then that's going to present a big problem for this red player. Opponent Lightning Strikes onto Teferi.
Time travel is harder than it looks.
Alright, Stormseeker's ability goes on the Phoenix Chick. Hits us for 2 in the air. We draw 1, and the Spirit token ticks up a little bit. Let's play out Otawara. We could try to attack with this. We've got kind of a combat trick in our hand with this Flow of Knowledge. Alright, well, no blocks. Let's Flow of Knowledge. We draw a whole bunch. And smack the opponent for 8. Alright, opponent plays a second Phoenix Chick, so that's going to pick up a counter from Kumano. And they are going to Lightning Strike our Triskaidekaphile. Fair enough. Stormseeker happens, makes the original Phoenix Chick a 2-1, and we take 4 in the air. We're down to 8. Spirit ticks up, it becomes a 9-9. Let's Fading Hope that blocker. We've got enough left over here. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I think we can still play an island, yes. Got enough left over here to Flow of Knowledge. We'll discard 2. We'll see just how many cards this is. Should be 6 triggers on Teferi's Spirit. And we'll get in for 15. Ooh, those tokens get big. Good game.